interview with Tony Stubblebine of Lyft. Tony, how are you doing today?
I'm great. Glad to be here.
Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us. It's really great of you to join us from where you actually calling in from today?
I'm calling in from the Lyft offices in downtown San Francisco.
Fantastic. And with the power of Google and Hangouts, I'm conducting this from a small town just outside London in the UK. It's brilliant, isn't it? How we can get technology to work for us.
It's a new world. It's unbelievable what we can do. I mean, here we're like the stereotypical startup out here in Silicon Valley, but we don't have we could be anywhere. We don't have to be located here.
Absolutely. Well, we want to talk about Lyft today. Why don't you tell us? What is Lyft? Give us the complete lowdown on that.
Sure. So Lyft is an app for goal tracking and community support. So the idea is that you can't really change what you don't measure, and so in Lyft you pick up some habits and you track your progress to them, and along the way you get support from your friends or other people in the community, and that support can be helping answer questions or give accountability or just basically cheer you on. And we have, a few months ago, we launched an iPhone app, and actually tomorrow, as we record this, we'll be launching a web version that will work on your phone or your computer or your tablet. So definitely, probably by the time people see this video, Lyft will be available for everyone.
Awesome. That's fantastic news. I mean, tell us a little bit more about the history of Lyft and why you believe the approach works.
Yeah, the history is that I was wrapping up a company before this, and I really was looking around to work on, what is the thing that I would want to spend the next decade, several decades working on? What is it that I'm most interested in? And I've always been interested in the pursuit of excellence. The Lyft is a support system to help people become excellent at whatever it is that they want to be. And it just happened that as I was coming around with this idea, a couple of other friends were also looking for something to do. And so my co-founder, John, was the head of engineering at Path, which was a hot startup out here. But he really, too, wanted to work on something that really felt meaningful and like it could have a major impact on the world. And then my friend and former boss, Evan Williams, who was the founder of Blogger, one of the founders and CEO of Twitter, he had just left Twitter, and he was also looking for something to do. So Evan and I basically co-designed the first version of Lyft, and he was our first investor. So I feel like incredibly fortunate that we had this major idea. We felt like if we could create a universal support system, we could have really significant impact on human potential. That everyone has aspirations, and we can help people get further along. And I'm just really lucky that I had friends available right at that moment to support us to get this thing launched and out there in the world.
Absolutely. I mean, one of the things that's interesting about goal tracking is that, of course, if you're sitting there tracking your goals and you're doing it yourself, you may or may not actually adhere to the goals. So tell us more about the community aspect and how important that is.
So, I mean, in general, the goals are one of the hardest possible. Like, changing your own behavior is one of the hardest possible things you can do, and the more support, the better. And so, it starts, of course, with you have to be able to see your progress and hold yourself accountable. But I think there's a lot that comes out of a community that it's like I'm constantly amazed the number of things a community can do for you. One is accountability, just knowing that other people are paying attention. But also there's a lot of inspiration. I know that when I see someone else, I have another one of our investors has lost a ton of weight, is incredibly fit, and I see his exercise regimen every day, and I just think, well, if he could do it, I mean, he's a couple years older than me, there's no real reason that if he could do it, that I couldn't do it myself. And so I get a lot of inspiration from seeing other people's success stories. And and then there's this fundamental piece of behavior design, which is overcoming barriers and obstacles. And you forget how many tiny challenges come up in some seemingly simple advice. So, like, I'll give you an example. This is at the beginning of Lyft. My co-founder John and I decided, well, let's try Lyft for something really hard. Let's go vegan for 4 months. So that was a very hard behavior change because I was craving meat and other things that I wasn't allowed to eat. But then I had all these other hurdles, like, where do I eat lunch? Where can I even get vegan food? And that stuff was solved by knowing where my vegan coworkers ate lunch. And actually, I saw the CEO of Weight Watchers speak last year, and he talked about the importance of their online meetings or their in-person meetings being almost entirely about trading tips around really small, localized problems that people were finding. And so, like, you can read a book, you can read, let's say, The 4-Hour Body, and get a lot of great advice, but you're always going to have really specific challenges that come up that aren't ever going to be answered in the book, but they are going to be answered by other people that are just like one step ahead of you.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, speaking of the 4-Hour Body, I see that Tim Ferriss is an investor, but he's also
Yeah.
a fan, and of course, he lists Lyft as one of his daily use apps. I think is the way he puts it. I mean, how has Tim helped Lyft progress to where it is today, and what does he help you with?
Well, just the inspiration of having Tim as an investor is pretty amazing. I remember when I asked him to be an investor, it started with, well, let's meet for dinner and we'll talk it over. And then we went over to his house, and for like 5 hours, we talked about behavior change and behavior design and how hard it is and what's all the science behind it. And finally at like 2 in the morning, I said, Tim, I really want to have you as an investor, but I gotta go. And then I think I went home and like I got a text from him at 3 in the morning saying, "All right, I'm in. Let's do this." So just he has been a professional at this for so much longer that he has. He just has a lot of insight, and that's inspiring. And then also he's game for a lot of experiments, and so there's a Lyft or a 4-Hour Body training group on Lyft now, and where people in the 4-Hour Body can track the habits of the 4-Hour Body together. And one of the earliest things we did with him was use that training group to do some research into the 4-Hour Body. Because, frankly, that's what's missing from all of this advice, is the advice is given, and then there's no support for the advice, and because there's no support, you have no way to know, is the advice really any good? And what we did for him was amazing. That I think the final results, we did a 4-week challenge, sent 3,500 people through the 4-Hour Body diet, and the results were that 86% of people lost weight, and the average weight loss was 8.5 pounds. And that was amazing to us because we had no idea how effective his advice was. We thought it was good advice, and we were happy to be involved, but we didn't know it was that good. And I think from his perspective, he was really happy just to get third-party validation. That the secret of a lot of these behavior change experts is that their advice is really good, but there's a little bit of skepticism because there isn't a third party out there validating it.
Right, absolutely. Yeah, I mean it's a really awesome example of how Lyft can work for a lot of people, for a group of people, to allow them to track their progress and also get that community support.
Right.
And I've seen other examples as well. There's there's groups that cover different nutritional needs and other things that are related to UsFitties. I mean, UsFitties, of course, is all about getting fit and building strength and muscle or losing fat in minutes a day, and using Tim Ferriss's sort of minimum
Yeah.
effective dose ideas. And to have something like Lyft be able to help people track that kind of thing very simply is great. I mean, it's all part, I think, of the wider sort of quantified self movement. And the recent raft of personal tracker devices are all part of that as well, as people try to automate that. I mean, do you have plans to integrate Lyft with devices at a later stage so it can auto check in on tasks, or is that not something that you're looking at?
I'm sure that we will, but right now we're just really obsessed with the power of habit for behavior change, and that so many of the trends don't have a specific quantified self device or even any sort of quantification tool out there. And just as you were saying, around fitness for you guys, I mean, one of the trends that is really prominent in diet, at least, is that there's this major movement away from calorie counting and towards habit-based diet and nutrition. So, I mean, just the habits of the 4-hour body are, eat low-carb meals 6 days out of the week and eat 30 grams of protein within 30 minutes of waking up, and take a cold shower, right? Like, there's a number of habits that come out of the book that don't, like, your Fitbit isn't going to tell you whether or not you did that. And so what we're really doing is filling this huge gap where so much of the fitness advice you get isn't about having a gadget. It's really fundamental, do this every day. And I know, probably you guys, like a lot of people, are stressed for time or have really busy lives. And one of the best things you can do is create a habit around something that, it becomes so routine, so part of your life that you don't think about it, right? When you're busy, you're juggling so many things that you're thinking about. And anytime you can take it down to a habit so that it's automatic, that's one less thing that you have to think about every day.
So tell us, how can people get hold of Lyft to try it out for themselves, and what does it take to get started with the app or the web version?
It's super easy. Just head to our website, Lyft.do. If you have an iPhone, you can download it from there. Otherwise, just sign up through the website, pick your habits, and start tracking them. I know we were talking off air that the 4-hour body is really big. Probably this group, maybe we'll post it in the notes, the actual link to Tim's training group. That would also be a great start a great way to start on Lyft is to treat it as a support tool for the 4-hour body.
Excellent. Well, thanks very much for joining us today, Tony. It's been an absolute pleasure talking to you about Lyft and getting a better understanding of what it is and how it can help people achieve their goals. Really appreciate it.
Stewart, awesome. Love talking to you.
Thanks, Tony.
All right. Have a good day.
You too. Take care.